All right, hey everybody, TG here. How's it going out there? Wow, so we just saw some very interesting activity in the market. Let's get this camera working better here. And we're going to be going through that because I'm sure it might have given some of you some heart palpitations watching what the market does and all of this. So it's something I've been talking about with the market going up. Like we're looking for a break, we're looking for a liquidation break, a pullback, something, and we just got it this morning. So very, very interesting. And it's like finally, it's like okay, this makes sense. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you guys also about is I have a webinar. Is today Wednesday? I don't even know my days anymore. But yeah, I have a webinar tonight covering how to trade this market. I mean, we are in a raging bull market right now. And I know as soon as I say something like that, we're probably going to get a pullback or some sort of correction. Of course, that's what happens. But what I'm talking about is kind of longer term. I'm talking like 2021 or maybe even into 2022. I think that there is a very good, strong market that we have, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. Yes, of course, there will be pullbacks. Yes, of course, there will be downtrends. But overall, the activity and action that we're seeing in some names out there is incredible, and we're trying to take advantage of this. And so I put together a webinar that we're going to be discussing a lot of this tonight, 7 p.m. Central, so do come check it out. We're going to put a link in the chat here, but it's simplertrading.com/raging. So yeah, free webinar just coming out. See what I have to say. And we'll hide this. And then we can get going. All right, can I get some comments in the chat? I want to make sure that we're still connected. So if anybody is still watching on YouTube or Facebook, can you guys tell me if the audio, visual, is anything like that is still good? Otherwise, I might need to reconnect real quick because I'm thinking something might have happened. Picture keeps freezing. Okay. Well, kind of a mixed bag here. Okay, well, it looks like we are at least still connected. All right, we might need to also just kind of watch this on the replay. So once we get this thing set up, and then we'll kind of go forward on that. Yeah, okay, I'm getting mixed results. So I'm going to keep going forward because I think that this will be recorded, and then once that happens, you guys can check out the recording, and we'll post it that way, basically. And so if we look here, we look at the market in general, and we kind of pull this down so we can see what's going on. I've been talking about this for what feels like a few weeks, but it's probably only a week or a few days, is that the market was just super, super extended. We really needed to do some sort of refresh, some sort of pullback, something to that extent. And we were having some issues. And so it's like, look, we're up here at the third ATR. We're really extended. We are very far off of the hourly 50. We just kept kind of pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. And at some point, something was going to happen. And I kept saying this, like, something's going to happen. I don't know when, where, but something's going to happen. And it looks like we started to get that today. Now, the question is, how long does this last? Or how much further does it go down? Anything like that. But right here, you can see we got a pretty nice pullback, and it all got bought right back up. And on the daily chart, same thing. We pulled right back into the daily 8 EMA. So, that is definitely healthy. This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the market come back down and tap some of these moving averages for support. Now, on the S&P, we're going to have to see if it wants to do a little bit more sideways or down, something like that, because we do still have a little bit too much distance between price and the hourly 50. However, at the rate that this hourly 50 has been moving up, it could come up to price even if price just goes sideways for a little bit. So just kind of wanted to cover it that way. And if we look at the Nasdaq, look at the QQQ, it was doing pretty well. It actually pulled back to well, we got that one. Let me just make sure. Okay. It actually pulled back to the hourly 50. So that's good. This is exactly what we were looking for. So you can see in through here. Yep. that it came and pulled right back to hourly 50. So that's good news. I'm enjoying that. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time for this to recover. It's going to take, we have to get back on top of some of the lower moving averages. The Moxie indicator on the 15 kind of needs to cycle around again. But this is good. This is healthy. This is what we want to see. And if we look at the IWM, yep, the IWM, this thing was getting pretty extended too. Now, I've talked about this on a few other platforms and just in general, but the IWM, since it is so bullish, what we tend to see is actually look at this, is that it actually hits about, outside here, and it kind of just ping pongs between that and the 8 EMA. So, we're going to have to see when this thing actually starts to touch the 8 EMA. Usually that's also going to be about the hourly 50, which you can see still has a little bit of room. So this doesn't necessarily have to go down in order to do this. It could just go a little bit sideways in order to do this. Kind of just float sideways, float down just a little bit to kind of come into this support. So just kind of be prepared about this. Just expect that the market needs to be taking a break right now. That doesn't mean that all the names are going to fall apart. The market is still bullish and individual names still know that. And so if there's enough strength inside of a individual stock, it will continue to move up even when the market kind of takes a break and takes a rest. It's only when the market really is kind of crumbling or falling apart or really has some issues that the rest of the names become affected. And then today, like for that, the liquidation break that we just got did really affect a lot of names. For example, let me show you this one, NET. Now you can see here on NET that on the daily chart, it's doing pretty well. It's just now starting to break out. You can see, look, right here, we are breaking out on NET. This is good. We are now making new highs. Now, yes, there are earnings coming up, so be aware of that. And if you look at the hourly chart, look how high price was. In fact, this looks a lot like the S&P. It's just up, 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 up. And what it do? It pulled all the way back to the hourly 50. Great. That's fantastic. Now it means that we've kind of filled some of that gap. We've come back to support. It's no longer super crazy high. Now I can come down, go sideways a little bit, build that support, and start coming back up. This is good stuff. I like seeing this. There's another one. I know DKNG, DraftKings. We got a lot of people talking out there because of the Super Bowl and online sports betting. All this stuff is starting to really come up, partly because of COVID, and everyone's wanting to do stuff at home. So this is great. DKNG, DraftKings, doing well. You can see that it kind of got held up just a little bit here at the previous high, so it's kind of digesting that previous high. I'm sure anybody who bought here is kind of like, oh, thank goodness, I can get out finally. So there's just going to be some natural resistance, and once again, you could see that this was overbought. And what's it doing? It just is going sideways. Other than that initial drop, it took a couple days to kind of bounce along and start to move back up. So DraftKings looks great. This is the kind of thing I'm probably going to be seeing in the market. The market just dropped. Give it a little bit of time to go sideways before it catches up to these moving averages and then starts moving up. So, yeah, everything's looking good here. Now, since I got some good feedback here on YouTube and Facebook, let me know what you guys are looking at, if there's anything in particular, because there's going to be a lot of stuff I cover tonight in the webinar that I just posted. Maybe I'll just show you the link one more time. There you go. This link. So there's going to be a lot of stuff I talk about tonight, so I don't want to really, it's all in my brain. I don't want to be talking about it today. So you guys let me know what you're looking at and what you're looking for, and we'll kind of talk about some of that. All right. I know some of the other ones that we've been discussing and talking about. Apple, always a big name to be kind of chatting around out there. And, the only thing I kind of saw the other day was, big picture, it's great. Daily chart looks fine. We got price kind of moving sideways and wanting to bounce off of the daily 50. But here is what I call an inverse trampoline move, and this is what really helps keep you with Moxie, with the Moxie indicator, helps keep you out of false entries, keeps you out of some of these early first moves, is right here. We got price up over the hourly 50, but we got the Moxie indicator below 0. That is an inverse trampoline move, and That's how you make sure that with the way, like the way I trade, the way I teach, what I'm going to be, putting a class out. This is how you make sure that you don't buy just like that because, well, the Moxie indicator is still below zero. It's telling you don't go in yet. That being said, just a little bit more sideways movement, and what we might start seeing is some positive divergence here on like a double bottom, so positive divergence on the Moxie indicator. And if we come down and we start testing some of these things, we should start seeing some support. So give it a little bit of time. The Apple is a very, very large stock, and it too is going to either follow the market or it is the market, and it's going to be moving in the same way. So just give it a little bit more sideways stuff. And what we're seeing is a lot of these big cap tech stocks are still kind of snoozing a little bit. They're so big that they just take time in order before they really start getting going, and they've just been going sideways for so long. It's going to take a little bit of time before these things really start to catch up. Another one, Amazon. Same thing. I mean, look at this thing. It's trying. It does want to go up. It's starting to work with an uptrending daily 50, but it's mostly flagging sideways into that daily 50, and we still haven't quite seen where price wants to hold moving averages on the hourly chart. We can see here it didn't hold the hourly 50. It still can't hold the hourly 50. So I think we need to revert away from the lower time frames and more towards the larger time frames, the bigger time frames like the weekly, the daily, the monthly, and say, hey, is this thing generally an uptrend? Yes, it is. When's it going to go? Well, probably when it starts to enjoy whatever is going on the daily time frame. And then Tesla. I saw Tesla rolled over today. And again, is this disastrous? No, I don't think it is. In fact, if you look at in the past, we've seen this before. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit for that. We've seen this before. There we go. Let me kind of zoom in on this. So we've seen it before right here to where Tesla needed to come down and bounce off of the daily 50 twice, and even did a little bit more scoop here, and then it took off. Same thing. It's a big stock now. There's a lot of activity, and it just had a huge run, and all it's doing is going sideways for now. So give it a little bit more time. This is where it depends on if you're trading options. If they're short-term options, you might be getting killed on something like this. If you're trading stock, okay, fine. You can probably hang on to it if you're willing to give it some time. It just depends on what your particular trade setup is, but generally it's just going sideways, trying to find some support. Now, I don't see where that support is yet, but I think eventually it will go back up. All right, let's look at Baba. I think they've been doing well since the news that they wanted to get into, maybe it was Baidu. I kind of get them confused. I know they're totally different companies, but one of them wanted to get into the electric vehicle space. And so they had earnings, and what I'm seeing here is that it bounced off of the daily 50, looking pretty good right there. And once again, here's the trampoline move. So this is one of the biggest and best reasons why I have the Moxie indicator and why it works so well, is that you can tell when price is a trampoline move or if this is actually a problem. Because without the indicator, if price breaks down through the hourly 50, you might be thinking, oh no, this is a bad trade. Oh, it's going to go down. I'm in trouble. But if you had the Moxie indicator, you can see that the Moxie indicator is still above zero, and it's actually still positive. And so that actually turns it into a high buoyancy type trade. That we're looking at this thing and saying, oh, no, actually, I should be looking to buy on this as long as I start to see things below that shape up the way I want to, because the Moxie indicator is still positive. It's telling you that this is still bullish, that this actually should keep going up, and price is just not where it's supposed to be. So there's the trampoline move on BABA. And then you can see here it just continued, finished its bounce off of the hourly 50. So far, this all looks pretty good. Yeah, I like BABA and what's going on there. Let's see, XSPA. I don't know this one. The volume looks pretty great. Let's see if the name tells us anything. Yeah, I don't know what this thing is, so we'll just kind of cover it. But what I also talk about a lot is that moving averages are resistance if they're overhead. So you can see right here that price kind of ran into the underside of the daily 200, needed to pull back and then rebuild its strength and get going. And again, look at this. another trampoline move. You have price here below the hourly 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0. So that should have told you that basically you'd be looking to buy the dip on something like this. And then you can actually see there was a double bottom in there too, and the Moxie indicator on the 15 was starting to trend up. This thing looked great, and then right there it bounced off the 15-minute 50. So really, really good. Moxie indicator for the win. I've never seen this stock, but yeah, there you go. It follows all the rules and looks like it's doing pretty well. In fact, maybe I'll just take a note so that I can follow along on some of these stuff, because you guys always bring me different names that I don't always look at, and I love the research that you do and bring things for me. Let's see, Riot. I did see that Riot pulled back just a little bit. Question is it going to be enough? And the way that Riot and Bitcoin and all these kind of names have been doing stuff, yeah, this might be enough. I'll have to give it a little bit of a caveat, because it's still kind of doing its pullback and it's still very elevated. But clearly, Riot, Mara, Bitcoin, anything related to that, they're on a new uptrend. So really the kind of question is, where do we get in and how can we feather the right kind of entry? Perfect entry would have been back here, but I was actually expecting a little bit more of a pullback, a little bit more of a dip. I wanted to see price actually bounce off of the hourly 50, but then Elon came out with his tweet saying that they're buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, and so news trumps the charts, and this thing just popped up. So I didn't get the entry that I was looking for, but it's okay because we're already in some other crypto-related names that totally benefited from that, so we're doing fine. The only thing is if we want to diversify into something like this. So really, really overbought. I mean, this thing went vertical for 2 days, finally pulled back a little bit. It's getting a little bit more realistic. Now, I tend to like to see price get closer to the hourly 50. But this thing might be in such a strong uptrend, it may not do that for a while. And so if you want to make sure that you're in and get back in, this might be the right opportunity where price has dipped below the 15-minute 50. The Moxie indicators, yeah, they're down, but they're still positive. They haven't really rolled over totally. This might be a good opportunity. So, it's not my perfect entry, so I can't quite see it yet, and I don't want to be giving any definitives. But if you're asking if Riot is a good trade, yeah, Riot is doing fine. It's in an uptrend. It's just pulling back. If you're looking for an entry, might be here. This might be decent. SDC. Yeah. So Align, which is the kind of competitor to Smile Direct Club, they had earnings. They did well on earnings. So I think that is why SDC actually went down right in through here. That was because Align actually had good earnings, and so competitor did well. Well, it's going to bring this name down. But I would be looking bullish on SDC. I've been trying to trade this a few times. We've made some money, and then we got part of that whole Reddit short squeeze, all that kind of crazy stuff. And then I've just been letting it settle. So I'm looking for this and saying, hey, I think price is right here at the daily 50. It seems reasonable to me. That seems like a pretty good spot that price is going to stop going down and start building a base and move up. And we can see that too because price is here at the daily 200, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, that kind of looks like price wants to move up. And then I'm looking here and I'm seeing that the Moxie indicator is starting to try and trend up as well. So that's looking pretty desirable to me. If I were to get an entry right here, I think it would be a little bit early. I don't think it would be wrong, but I think it could be a little bit early because it's not exactly confirmed. But I am looking for SDC to move higher longer term. It just kind of needs to figure itself out right now. All right. Yeah, I know we're having kind of internet connection issues, so we'll have to see what we can do about that. Hopefully the recording does well. Let's see. What about NEE? This has not been a name that I've really wanted to trade. I know a lot of people keep talking about it. I don't know. I just don't really like it. I don't really have a strong affinity towards it. I don't, it's moving, but I don't know. It's very choppy. It moves up like this, then pulls back, and then kind of moves up and does this, and then moves up and pull. It's not a name I really want. I want something that really goes. That being said, sure, it's in an uptrend. It is moving up. I'm a little concerned about the distance between price and the daily 50 here, and this is an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0. So it's a little bit tough to say. Is price going to continue bouncing off of the hourly 50, or is this thing going to want to fall off of the hourly 50 and maybe do more of a double bottom situation before it then moves up like that? That's what's going to be tough to kind of tell with NEE. All right, let's see what else you got here. Here's some new names. AXU. I do not know this name. Volume's okay, 600,000. Looks like it's done more in the past. This too doesn't really look like much of an interesting name to me. Let's see what the weekly and monthly. The monthly looks pretty good. It looks like price is basically following the monthly 10, so it's starting to be in an uptrend. Weekly too. But for me, I don't think this thing has enough juice or enough excitement or enough oomph to really make it worthwhile for me. But I don't see anything wrong with it. What we can see here is, price is probably going to be bouncing off the daily 50, and I'm seeing a double bottom plus a trampoline move. Remember, price below the 50